Hi, I'm Lindsay with World Fight Products, and joining me today is Rob MacDonald. Rob, how did your injury sustained during the shooting of The Ultimate Fighter hamper the early career of Maximus MacDonald?
The injury I sustained on The Ultimate Fighter, it hampered my career in terms of getting me fighting on a regular basis. When you have to come back from an injury like that, it takes a couple of years to really get back up to full speed. On the other hand, though, because of that injury, I ended up receiving a lot of other things that came down the road. So to say it hampered it, I'm not sure if that's entirely fair. Even though it was an unfortunate situation recovering from that injury, it really helped me on later on in my career, if that made sense at all.
You had mixed success in the UFC. Is there one area such as injury, matchmaking, or conditioning that you feel influenced your losses?
I think my early injury influenced my first fight against Jason Lambert. In terms of the other fights I had, I don't think it was any of those things that really influenced me. I think it was more to the fact I didn't have a solid game plan going into the UFC. I didn't have my house in order before I went in. I really think that there's more to a fight than just showing up and fighting on that night. Your training has to be in order. Your camp has to be in order. Your personal life has to be in order. And there was a lot of things going on outside the octagon and outside the ring that were causing me a lot of issues. And once I cleaned those up, then the rest of my focus became clear. In terms of matchmaking, I really think at this level anyone can beat anyone on any given night. Conditioning, I've always worked as hard as I can. And in terms of the injury, I've recovered 100%. So I think it was just more clearing my personal life out before really progressing as a fighter.
How did your title shot against Marshall come about?
You know what? I got a call from Sven Bean, who runs Ring of Fire. That's an organization I was supposed to fight in before I made it to the UFC, and a promotion I always wanted to fight in. Sven really treats his fighters well, and it's somewhere I really wanted to fight. The state of Colorado, going somewhere different. It's a very high-level promotion. Dwayne Ludwig, who's one of my favorite fighters and favorite strikers, came from there. And back in the day, I think in 2004 or 5, I was supposed to fight Elliott early on in his career. Sven called me up and asked me if I wanted the shot against Elliott, and I said, yeah, absolutely. Elliott's one of the most decorated grapplers in U.S. history. He's won Grappler's Quest 9 times. He's a 5-time Pan Am's champion. And I thought it would be a really good step for my career, especially considering the knock against me before was that I had a hard time with submission guys. So, I got offered the fight and I took it, and it went well for me.
In light of the negative image you were portrayed in the TUF series, did you feel vindicated following your dominant win of the belt against an undefeated champion?
Not so much. When that show came out, I had mixed emotions about it for the negative portrayal. But a lot of those emotions weren't just directed to my negative portrayal. It was a lot of other people on that show that were negatively portrayed as well. I don't necessarily agree with how The Ultimate Fighter edits their show and runs their business. I believe that show should focus more on the beauty of the sport rather than the controversy that surrounds it. That being said, I think that once I started fighting in the UFC after that series, I think I was vindicated in that regard, especially against my win against Christian Watharmel, and that was Ultimate Fight Night 5. That was when I was healthy, and one of my better performances. The fight against Elliott was just a good fight. And, not to take anything against Elliott, he's a great fighter, and I think I was just a little more on that night than he was. I think saying that one fight in your career vindicates you, I think that's a little bit of a stretch. Like I said, I just think I was better on that night, and it went really well, and now I'm looking to build on that success.
What are your thoughts on a fighter such as Brock Lesnar getting in the hundreds of thousands of his rookie fight, when the reality is most guys might not see that kind of money over a multi-fight contract?
I've heard mixed opinions about this, and I've heard people, try to tackle this question before. My opinion is that he deserves it. I mean, Brock Lesnar wasn't paid for his record, and he wasn't paid for his athletic ability. He was paid for the draw that was going to be given to that pay-per-view and outside the pay-per-view in terms of marketing and advertising and everything like that. So that's just what's your value to the organization. There's rumors that Ray Lewis from the Baltimore Ravens might take in an MMA fight, and that's the same thing. If that's going to get a promoter 5 million extra fans who are going to pay $50 a pay-per-view, I think it's absolutely worth it to pay $200,000 to him. So your draw as an athlete there came from his marketing, not necessarily it's based on his record where he's only had one fight. That being said, back to the earlier question as well, I think that all fighters should be paid more as well in terms of that, because I think there's a lot of people that add to the marketing to the UFC that aren't paid, and to other organizations that aren't paid what they're worth. But, for his salary, I have no problem with that.
What is your average day like at the Jim Jones facility?
It's good, and it's pretty intense. I have the opportunity to train with Mark Twite every day, and he's one of the world's most renowned strength and conditioning coaches, and to train with him is quite an experience and quite an honor. He's a genius when it comes to what he does, and he's somebody that's really, really helped out not only my physical game, but also my mental game lately. He's a mentor to me, someone I really look up to. To train there a couple hours a day with him every day is it's quite intense. He puts me through the ringer, some of the most difficult training sessions I've ever had to go through, and that's what I do there on a daily basis. And I also train people there, train people that have been accepted to the facility. It's invite only. To go to the facility at Jim Jones is quite an honor. And, there's quite a process to get in to be able to train there. So, daily I'm in there training other athletes, and I'm trained myself. And, it's really worked out good. Just put me in a really good, positive mental frame of mind for my fights. And it also allows me to do something I love. It's really rewarding to have someone come into the facility with a specific goal in mind, whether that be to run an ultra marathon or climb a mountain, and really help them achieve that goal. It's a really rewarding experience. And that's a typical day there. The gym is filled with different athletes, some from the NFL, some from the military, some ultra marathon runners, some of the world's best mountain climbers, a group of like-minded, extremely motivated people coming in and out of the facility. It's just an amazing environment to be around, and really inspires you to, to a certain level of greatness, and to do things that maybe you thought you couldn't do before. And that's one of the premises that the facility is built on, is that it's private and it's not open to the public. When it's open to the public, your facility becomes poisoned with mediocrity is a fair way to put it. Everyone that's in that facility is there for a specific reason and works as hard as they can, and that kind of attitude is infectious, not only in your training life, but also it carries over to all facets of your personal life. So it's been like a godsend being there every day. It's really helping me in a lot of ways.
Do you have any advice to young aspiring fighters?
The biggest advice I'd give to young aspiring fighters is just to make sure you surround yourself with good people who have your best interests at heart, and don't try to get too good too fast. That carrot's always being dangled in front of you, and I think there's a danger to young fighters being used by promoters and being used by people around them. I think what you have to do is get everything in your personal life set, get your family around you, get a good group of people you trust, and then have a game plan. If it takes you 10 years to become the best fighter in the world, it takes you 10 years to become the best fighter in the world. But don't make decisions that are based on your financials. Don't make decisions that are based on what somebody else wants for you. Really just have a well-constructed game plan. Work as hard as you can. Surround yourself with good people, and good things are going to happen.
Rob, where can prospective sponsors and fans reach you?
Any fans or any sponsors that want to email me can email me at rob@ultimatemaximus.com. They can also go to my website, which is ultimatemaximus.com, and just go to the contact section and drop me a line. And that's the easiest way to get a hold of me. I check it daily, and I'll get back to anyone that writes as soon as I can.
Thank you for inviting us into your house, and all the best in your upcoming debut in Quebec, March 29th.